Hey besties, it's me Maddie, and for today's video I want to do a girl talk. So boys, get out, girls sit down, get some popcorn, get your favorite tea, your favorite drink, and let's have a little chit chat. I just want to have a girls night and gossip with you guys and just talk. So I have some questions here on my phone that I'm going to be answering, and yeah, I'm just kind of like starting a little combo with you guys. Alright, so the first question I want to do is, how do you handle friendship conflict? I recently went through a friend breakup and it was tough. I really don't know what happened, but we just went our separate ways and I got ghosted, I feel like, and when she was ready to talk and come back into my life, I was kind of like, hold on, like, this is not the first time that this has happened, and it's not okay, and I don't do that to you, it's not fair to me, and I really didn't know what was going on. I got no explanation, not that I need an explanation, but I would like an explanation on, why are you not answering me, our friendship feels one-sided, it feels like I'm putting all the effort. Anyways, um, got ghosted, got blocked on everything. Wasn't even an argument. So how did I handle that? Honestly, I moved on, I moved past it, and I got closer with my friends that I wasn't so close with. Yeah, I mean, I think cutting off people that aren't able to give you the type of friendship that you're giving them. But if you're doing X, Y, and Z in the friendship and the other friend is not doing that, reciprocating it, maybe cut them off. Like, that's just what I had to do. The next one is, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about you? So recently my friend told me she was surprised that I get intimidated. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, like you seem like you're so confident, like I'm surprised you get intimidated by people. And I'm like, oh my god, like yes, like I'm human, like I guess being Aries, I kind of look confident to people, or like I have my life together, and I really don't. And I'm really not confident. Like, I am so insecure sometimes. I do not have my life together. And, like, for example, at work, sometimes there's really pretty girls that come in, and I'm really nervous or like shy to talk to them because they're so pretty. Or I really want to compliment someone, and I don't because, like, I'm just nervous. Um, so I think that's the biggest misconception about me. The next one is, what's your take on dating apps and have you tried them? Yes, I have tried dating apps before. I've used Tinder and Bumble. This was 3.5 years ago. And I kind of went into it with thinking a lot of these guys are on there for one thing and one thing only, so keep that in mind. That's not something I was open to doing. I am not open to doing hookups, and I was not open to doing hookups. I am the type of person where I need to have a full-blown relationship into doing anything with someone. So it was pretty easy to kind of like navigate the app and be like, okay, well, this guy's an F boy, this one's an F boy, this one just wants this, whatever it is, right? And I met this one guy who is now my boyfriend of almost 4 years. We matched on Tinder, and um, we texted for a couple days, and then we started calling, and we just, a lot of our like values aligned, and I don't know, we just kind of like clicked instantly. But I think dating online is very hard because all you really get is to judge a person by a couple pictures and like a couple of paragraphs, and not really get to know the person in person unless you go on a date with them. So I feel like dating online is kind of hard, and you don't know a person. Like, you can go out with a stranger and they could be a serial killer. So just be careful and always send your location to a friend if you meet a stranger. And go to a public place, never go to their house. The first like 2 days, the first 2 dates, never go to their house. you don't want something bad to happen. Not that it can only happen in the first 2 days, but you know what I mean. This one says, what's your biggest dating deal breaker? Oh, I know one. If I ask them, so like, do you have any goals, ambitions, like where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? If they're like, oh, I don't really know. No, like that does it for me. That does it for me. Like, we're in our 20s, you have to have some sort of plan. If you cannot give me anything, any sort of goal, plan in your life, no, it just does not work for me. To each your own. That would probably be the biggest one. The next question is, what do you think about birth control? So I have been on 2 different types. I've been on the pill and the patch. I did not like either. I had a really horrible experience. It's a good way to protect yourself, but the amount of damage it has done to me, like emotionally, physically, was not worth it. I did the pill, I want to say a month or two, and it really messed me up emotionally. I was always depressed, always crying. I just did not feel me in my own body. Like, I felt crazy. I felt kind of like weak, like just something was wrong. And then with the patch, I put it on my lower back. The second I put it on, I felt just this like wave of like energy go through my body, and it just felt like this all at once just go in me, and it was a horrible feeling, and I just knew something was wrong. I lasted probably 4 days on that, maybe 3. I would not stop crying. I had constant like breakdowns. I just could not keep it together. I was so depressed. I literally was S-word on it, and I was always crying. And I remember I was in the car with my boyfriend, and I was like, I can't do it anymore, I can't do it anymore. And I just ripped it off of me. And I think not being on the birth control enough to get my hormones regulated and everything, and just taking it off like that and just stopping it like that, really messed up my period. It took, I want to say, 6 months for my periods just to be more regular. Even right now, they're not regular, and it's been probably 2 years. I've always had irregular periods. Not always. In the beginning, it was more normal. Now it's not. But like I said, the birth control really did mess me up, and I'm not open to trying it again. I almost did the one where they insert the thing in your arm. Thank God I didn't. Everyone has their own experience on there. Not every experience is bad. I've heard a lot of stories that are like, oh, it was fine. Like, I had no problems with it. Loved it. Had it for 10 years. Had it longer than I should have. Never had any problem with it. And then there's the ones that suffer like us. So it's just kind of like what works with your body. Also, I heard with birth control pills, one has more progesterone or one has more estrogen, I believe. Don't quote me. And sometimes you need one or the other, or I don't know, to kind of figure out what dosage you need. I was not willing to do that. So I just want to put that out there in case anyone's struggling. Maybe that will help you. All right. So the next one is, what do you think about going 50-50 with your partner? Now, I really don't mind. I recently saw this post on TikTok. It was this girl talking, and she was like, you can't expect at such a young age for your boyfriend to be able to provide you this lavish lifestyle like you see on social media. You gotta remember that they are starting out making like minimum wage, a little bit less money, like they're not starting out at $100,000. And I was like, you know what, that is so right. Like, that does make sense. Like, that does make sense. And I think a lot of us, a lot of women, not women only, but I think a lot of people do forget that being such a young age, like, we're only making so much money and we have our own bills and things to pay. And of course, if we had it like that, we'd probably be spoiling our significant other with everything we could think of. But because we don't have it like that right now, we're not able to, and that's okay. As long as you're still doing something, that's all that matters. Now for the 50-50. I think if you're dating at a younger age, slowly get to the point where the guy pays for more of the stuff. But also I think the most important thing is what works for each couple. Like, what works for me may not work for you and your partner. What works for you and your partner may not work for me. So really, it's just kind of like having those conversations and figuring out what you're okay with, what's not okay, and what you guys can come to agreement on. You know, like, would I be okay in the future doing all the cooking, doing all the cleaning, taking the kids to school, doing all that and not working while my husband goes to work? I don't know. Like, in a way, it sounds nice, but in a way, also, I would want some help, or I'd want my partner to contribute a certain amount also. It kind of depends, like, what works for you. And my answer has definitely changed over the past couple years. But yeah, wanted to share that. Okay, so my last question is, any advice for a toxic work environment? I have had many jobs myself. I've probably had at least 5, and none of them last that long. The longest I've been at a job is this one. It's been about a year and 6 months. It's going pretty well, but every workplace has its ups and downs. It has its good and its bad. Where you're at now, your next job could be better or worse. And every place you work at, there's gonna always be something you don't like. There's always gonna be someone you don't like. There's always gonna be a big problem, a little problem, things that you're like, okay, I can overlook this, things that you're like, I can't overlook this, I'm ready to quit. And I do believe in not settling, especially for a job, because you are replaceable and they can replace you within 2 weeks. And the thing is, this is kind of funny, is if you quit, they want a 2-week notice, but if they fire you, they can fire you like that. So I don't feel like that's fair. And as I'm working for a big company, I don't want to work for a corporation for the rest of my life. I do not want to be told what to do for the rest of my life. I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what, I want to work for myself. I don't really want to take orders, or it's not even taking orders, but I don't want to listen to someone else. I don't want someone else telling me what to do. Not that I want to be telling other people what to do, because I don't. I'd be a horrible manager. I'd be like, can you give me that, please? Like I'd be the worst manager. Oh my god. I don't like telling people what to do. I hate it. But every place has its ups, its downs, its flaws, its good. If you know you can do better, go for it. If you know you can get paid somewhere else, go for it. If you're like, man, I really don't like this, this is not what I want to do, and you want to do something else, do it. I had someone come into my job and they were like, I was like, hey, how are you doing? Like, how was your day? Blah, blah. And he goes, I just got laid off this week. And he was happy about it. He like kind of smiled when he was talking about it. And I was like, what? Like, oh my god, like, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, that sucks. I hope like everything is okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to school to become a pilot. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, what were you doing at your job that you got laid off? He goes, tech. It's not really good anymore. How did he say it? Basically that in tech, people are getting laid off, and I've had at least 4 people this year tell me that they got laid off, all different types of jobs. And that's scary, being laid off. And he was just so happy that he was going to become a pilot. He didn't know how he was going to do it. He didn't know how he was going to get the loan. And he's like, you know what, I'm 30 and I'm going to do it. That's what I want to do. And I was like, that's good for you. And that really inspired me just to take the risk. Like, we're only young for so long where we have nothing holding us back. Just take the risk. Just go. Just go head first. And you never know what's gonna come out of it. Alright guys, well that's the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and it was nice talking to my girlies. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!